Hello and welcome to Arts and Entertainment. I'm Deborah Gilbert, your host. Thanks so much for taking time out of your busy day today to spend with me and my guest. I greatly appreciate it. Well, I have another terrific show for you today. I hope you enjoy it. We're going to highlight the New Haven Symphony, which is located in New Haven, Connecticut. And Elaine Carrol, the CEO of the Symphony, is my guest today. And Elaine, thank you so much for being here today. I know that you're busy as well, so thank you for being here with us.
Oh, absolutely, Deborah. It's a thrill to be on the show.
Well, why don't we take the viewer back? Why don't we talk about you first? Tell us about yourself.
Well, I've been at the Symphony for a tiny sliver of its 127-year history. We're one of the oldest orchestras in the United States, fourth oldest, as a matter of fact. I got there about 10 years ago, so I've been with the organization a little while, and just been so inspired by how the people of Connecticut support this institution. They play at a tremendous level. They have so many programs out in the community, especially school and education programs. And it's been a great deal of fun working with the board and the volunteers to make sure as many people as possible in Connecticut get to hear great music from the New Haven Symphony.
When you were young or younger, did you think that you would be involved in music? Were you an artist yourself?
Yeah, I was one of those kids who was in absolutely everything. I started on the flute. I played the flute. I sang. I was in the marching band. I did musicals. You name it. I always wanted to find a way to have music in my life. I got my undergraduate degree in flute performance. Went to college for that. But then discovered I really loved the planning and production side of things, helping to put the ideas together and giving really super talented artists all the resources they needed to put on concerts and to create programming. So I went back to school and got my master's in performing arts administration, and I've worked in that field ever since.
Have you found moving from being a performing artist to being in the administrative side, was that a good transition for you? Or are you glad you did it?
Absolutely. Yeah, it's a much better fit for what I enjoy doing professionally. And then I get to still have fun. I still play my flute. I play at church. I sing at weddings. I still have fun now and now. I performed a couple times with the Whitney Players in Hampton, and so I get to really just enjoy and relax. And it's a lot of work. People should appreciate what musicians do for them. They're practicing hours a day to put together the performances that look so effortless. And I really respect the talents they have, and it's just an honor to be able to support them in that.
Tell us about the symphony. I know that probably there are people, because of course we're on the internet as well, there are symphonies all over the nation and all over the world. What makes the New Haven Symphony so special?
You know what, I love, even if you go back to our earliest days, the New Haven Symphony has always been sort of a people's symphony. There's three orchestras that are older than us, and they were all founded in big cities by the social elites of those cities. And here in New Haven, there were Jewish and German immigrants who were interested in performing together. They reached out to Morris Steiner, who had a little shop on Grand Avenue, and started practicing above his store. And it was always a part of our tradition that the community came forward and supported us. We had what were called the guarantors, and they supported us in our early days, and that comes through to today. We have an incredibly supportive audience that really loves what we do, and multi-generations, people who've been coming to the symphony for 3 and 4 generations. And we're in a very strange time for orchestras. It's not possible to be performing the way we usually do. And when we went out to the audience last spring to announce that we weren't going to be able to get together and perform in April and May as planned, we were worried about our musicians. And we asked them if we could keep the ticket revenues and give that out as a musicians relief fund. And the majority of them said absolutely yes. Some donated even more. They didn't just give their tickets back, they made additional contributions. And we were able to pay all of the musicians everything that we had, all the work we had promised them through the end of last season, which was so important to them. They're still in a very difficult place because they can't do what they love during the pandemic.
You're talking about something that I wanted to have our discussion to include is how has the pandemic affected the symphony? How has it affected the music industry in general?
Well, it's just tragic. These are people who've worked all of their lives to share a gift. And it's a gift that they're used to sharing live, and that's just not possible right now. A symphony, the more people who engage in it, the bigger and the better and the more joyful it sounds. it's just not safe to get 65 people on a stage together right now. And if you think about the fact that we blow into things and all of it, it's just not something that you could responsibly do. But we always are looking for those COVID silver linings. Our education program, which was always a big part of what we did, really took off. The schools were looking for online resources to really engage children. We started out working and planning some things with the New Haven Public School, and they just caught on like crazy, and they went all over the world. We've had our education resources used by 32,000 people since March, and they're on all of the continents except Antarctica. We're looking for one little penguin at the South Pole to try one of our education resources, and then we can cover the entire globe. So YouTube, things that people can do to interact online, especially when things were really locked down last March and April. We were doing living room concerts with the soloist who had planned to be with us. People could question and answer. And you think about some of the people who were isolated and in their homes by themselves, it gave them a chance on Thursday night to sit down, glass of wine, listen to some music, and talk to our music director, our pops conductor, some of the musicians who were involved with the symphony.
How do you see the future? Do you see any kind of performance happening in 2021, or will we get into the next year?
So it was very exciting for us. We tried in October, we were in phase 3 very briefly back in October, and we did chamber music concerts out on the canal dock in New Haven. There's a beautiful indoor facility there, but it also has a very large dock out over the water. And if you think about being on the river, great air exchange. So we were able to put some small chamber music concerts together at the Canal Dock Boathouse. The audience was so appreciative. We met so many new people. A lot of new people came out to try those concerts. So we're launching a little festival. It's going to be 7 to 8 weeks from mid-May until June, where we'll be performing at the Canal Dock Boathouse and bringing chamber music, chamber size, which is safe. And we're working with the city and with the Yale School of Public Health to guarantee maximum safety. So that'll be our return in 2021. And then we're very much hoping, if everyone goes out and gets their vaccination, that by the time we would usually be back in October of 21 for our 21-22 season, that we can start looking at doing some indoor performances.
Why don't we take a moment and talk about the gala? It's coming up. What makes it so special, and tell us about it.
That's this weekend, Saturday, February 6th. We're doing an online gala for the first time. So many people are familiar with what a gala usually looks like. You get together and you have dinner and you listen to some music together. It wasn't safe to do that this year. We really debated, does it make sense in the current environment to be doing a big black tie fundraiser? And we decided that we were going to take it online, do it virtually, try to make it as fun as possible, but also celebrate some of the incredible people out there on the front lines doing innovative work and still serving our community. And it's a chance to stand up and recognize them. The theme of the gala is Rise, which is about these people who raise up our community, but also the role of the arts, that the arts are going to be essential to our community coming back together and rising together as this pandemic finally comes to a close.
Is it going, it's open to the public. How does somebody find out how to participate in this?
The easiest way is to go to newhavensymphony.org. And if you hit the events button, you'll see the special event, the gala this Saturday. You can buy an online ticket to watch from home for as little as $30. It's also possible to be a full-fledged gala participant if you want to get all dressed up. We've talked to some of our supporters and they're excited to have a chance to get dressed up, although I don't know if they'll do it just from the top up or sweatpants on the bottom, gala on the top. It's possible to pick up dinner. We're working with Woodwinds and they've got it set so it's completely safe. You pull in their parking lot, you order in advance, you pop your trunk and they put your dinner in your trunk so you can go home, have your dinner. We have a red carpet where people are sending virtual hugs to the award winners, and then a show from 7 to 8:30 that features rising talent, young people from the community. We have a world premiere that was written by a young composer, only 18 years old, Anton Kott. He performs it himself. We worked with a wonderful choreographer, Nikki Claxton, and she choreographed a dance that's performed by Jaleel Jeffries. And if you'd like to know if you can dance for 6 minutes full out with a mask on, she proves it can be done. It really is very inspiring.
Have you found that other symphonies, or maybe that isn't part of what's important to your symphony, are other symphonies doing virtual galas as well?
I think people who are, if they're doing galas at all, they are doing them virtual. It's the only, you have to be a responsible citizen, and getting a large group of people together right now probably doesn't fit that definition. So I think most galas that are happening are being done online. And people have come up with all sorts of innovative ways to interact with their audiences.
Another thing I would like to talk about is the website. It is filled with information, and I just couldn't get enough of my time to be able to go through every single thing that's there. Tell us about it.
Well, the website's wonderful. There's all sorts of things you can explore and find. The other thing we find that's just really taken off is our YouTube channel. The New Haven Symphony has a YouTube channel. If you go to YouTube and search, we've got videos of old performances and past guest artists. We have our home cooked music festival, which was something we did to help raise money for the soup kitchen, hunger being such a big issue this past year. So that's a place a lot of people visit us. We also have a very in-depth education section on the website. So if you go to our website, which is newhavensymphony.org, well, thank you, you even put it up on the screen. You can go to our education section, and there's a whole resource area for teachers with tremendous resources that have been used by thousands and thousands of teachers to help keep kids engaged while they're trying to learn music virtually, and when the classrooms have to be online. I didn't catch that one, Deborah. I think maybe you're muted.
Exactly, and you're absolutely right about that. There are probably many musicians that are out there that are probably very good at what they do. How does somebody submit themselves to the symphony for you to take a look at them?
Well, we're a fully professional orchestra. So if they're interested in playing in the body of the orchestra, whenever a seat becomes available, we advertise that information on our website. We advertise it in what's called International Musician, which is where all the union musicians go to look for job openings. And if people are interested, they can write to our personnel manager, and we keep resumes on file. And when the appropriate instrument has an opening, we let them know. In terms of soloists, myself and especially our music director, we have an incredible music director, Alistair Neal. He works with soloists from all over the world, so his depth of knowledge is incredible. But he's always listening to submissions and looking for interesting and new things to do. We love collaborating with the public. That's been something we've focused on a lot in the past 10 years, and we're trying to do even more so. And our gala is an example of that, taking these young people from our community and holding them up to show the remarkable things that they can do.
All right, let's hold that thought. I'm Deborah Gilbert. You're tuned into Arts and Entertainment. We're going to take a break right now. We'll be right back.
So you think you're safe in your COVID bubble, huh? You don't wear your mask because you're around each other all the time and you trust each other. If only it were that simple. Let's say you go over to your neighbor's house. That's okay, right? They're in your bubble. But your neighbor goes to work and has a coworker that doesn't wear a mask over his nose. And that coworker has a family and grown children that also go to work. Your neighbor also has a close relative who goes to bonfires at another friend's house regularly, where everyone is close together but don't wear masks because they're outside, and they all have families and coworkers. That's just your neighbor. That doesn't include your neighbor's neighbors, or your sister, your aunt, your best friend, or even your dad. The point is, everyone you know has a network. Everyone in their network has a network, and it only grows from there. So when you think you're hanging out with just 10 people, you're really hanging out with 100, 500, maybe 1,000. We'd hate to burst your bubble, but you don't have one. So think twice before venturing out. Keep your guard and your mask up whenever you're around anyone who doesn't live in your immediate household, even if they're trusted family or friends. That's the best way to stay safe and healthy.
Hello and welcome to Arts and Entertainment. Again, I'm Deborah Gilbert, your host. Thanks so much again for taking time out of your day to be with me and my guest. I appreciate it. Well, we're highlighting the New Haven Symphony today, and you can find them at newhavensymphony.org. They're in New Haven, Connecticut, and my guest continues to be Elaine Carrol, the CEO. And Elaine, thanks also again for staying with us. I appreciate it.
Oh, my pleasure. It's wonderful to see people.
Oh, that's great. I'm so glad. How do you get people to find out about the symphony? Do you have, I know I've talked to the marketing director. How do you get people to know about the symphony?
The very best way has always been word of mouth. People who love coming to the symphony tell their friends, they bring their friends. Obviously, that doesn't work quite as well right now, but we've always had tremendous community support, and we really are very grateful for it. The education program is a key part of the community knowing that we're here. We have a program for everyone starting from when they're little infants. We have free family programming. We do things like creating musical readers, which is storybooks with live musical accompaniment, all the way through school, obviously for adults at the concert hall, and then learning all the way through adulthood and into retirement. So we try to make sure that we're just always intermingling with different groups, finding community partners to help spread the word, and doing shows like this so that we can tell people that we're here, and we're really eager for people to give us a try.
Another thought would be funding. How are you funded? Are you funded through the state of Connecticut, private donors? What keeps you going?
We're lucky. We have a very good mix of funding, which is part of the key to being a really resilient organization. I will say the public funding this past year has been so helpful. We did qualify for a PPP loan, which was a great help, and we got significant Connecticut Cares money through the Connecticut Office of the Arts, which was very, very helpful to allowing us to go forward. And what it has done is create a pool of money so that if there are people who are working in the schools with community groups, libraries, daycare centers, we have wonderful online programming that can be presented by a live musician. It creates work for our musicians, many of whom are unemployed. And we have grant money to pay for that right now. So if anyone listening has a child or a grandchild who's part of a program that might benefit from having a story told by a musician, we have a wonderful new program. Today is the first day of Black History Month, and we've created a curriculum guide around how Black America has influenced serious music. And it celebrates things like jazz, the blues, gospel, Motown, and I have to laugh, hip hop, because if you ask today's kids, hip hop is classical music. It's no longer the latest thing. So we have symphony musicians who are trained to teach kids about the roots of hip hop and how it influences both serious and popular music. And you can qualify right now for grant money to have those presentations done online. So it's completely safe and something to inspire the kids while they're learning online. I didn't catch that, Deborah. Yeah, I think we're having some problems with the microphones. Now I can hear you.
Okay, here we go. I'm thinking about traveling. Does the symphony get to travel at all and show itself off to other locations?
We travel in a very limited sense. New Haven is our home base, but we do have a series that we perform in Hamden, Connecticut, a pops music series, as well as Shelton. We've been in the Valley for about 30 years. We do other smaller events in different places. We love working with community partners. We were working with the Ivoryton Playhouse at this time last year, so we did some things up in Ivoryton. We partnered with Essex Meadows up the shoreline. We play in Hartford, we play down in Norwalk. Anytime we can find a terrific artistic organization that wants to work with professional musicians, we do all sorts of collaborations, and that helps us move around the state. Our signature program that we take statewide is our young people's concerts. We've been doing those for over 80 years. So generation after generation got their first experience at the symphony coming to our young people's concerts. sadly, those won't happen this year. March is going to be a little too soon. So we're going out to the schools instead, teaching these curriculums online to students one classroom at a time.
My other thought is individuals that are interested in working at the symphony. How would somebody be able to present themselves to you that way?
You know, it's interesting. We actually just had a job open up. We have a very talented young woman who just got a wonderful opportunity to move up, and she's going over the International Festival of Arts and Ideas. So we have an entry-level job open in our development department right now. We usually publicize through places like the League of American Orchestras. Also on Indeed, we find people who are interested in working in the not-for-profit industry tend to go onto Indeed. And we post things on places like the Arts Council's website here in New Haven. So when there are jobs available, and of course there are those wonderfully assertive people who just will send you a resume and let you know they're out there, and we do keep those on file if people are interested. I should mention too, we have a really extensive internship program. We think it's very important to train future arts administrators. So we have every semester and usually numerous kids during the summer, and by kids usually it's college and above, who come in and do internships with us to get a specific area of training, the most popular being marketing and education.
What does the future look like? Granted, we've got COVID right now, but what does the future look like for symphonies and for music? Do you see a bright future?
I do. I think that people right now, as part of how they're dealing with the pandemic, they are playing their YouTube videos. And we know a lot of people are listening to our past podcasts, which are available on our website. And they've even been turned into a music appreciation class if people want to format them that way and take the quizzes. I think by the time we come back to Canal Dock in May, people are going to be so eager to have a live experience that we're going to meet a lot of new people who want to give us a try, who maybe haven't been out before. And I know that our current audience, they've been so good to us, really have stood by us, supported us, and we're hoping they'll be back as soon as they get that second vaccination. I'm sorry, I think you're muted.
I'm sorry, I'm dealing with myself and the station, so forgive me for that. Tell us your thoughts for the viewer that's listening right now. How does music in the symphony look like? I mean, should people be looking at a symphony to go and listen to music?
Absolutely. I try to listen to music every day. You know, I think we can feel so disconnected from beauty right now, and whatever music makes sense to you as something that elevates you and lifts you up. And with this, one of the reasons we talked about Rise, it's what the arts do for you. They lift your spirits and they nourish your soul. I put on music absolutely every day and listen to it just to take some time and to instill a little bit of that beauty that is caused when people work together, whether it's musical art or drama or even visual art. I know people are visiting museums online. I think it's really such an important thing to create space for beauty in your life, and it helps restock your joy, and that lets you face some of the difficulties we're all facing right now.
What does the future look like for the symphony?
Well, in the immediate future, Saturday is our gala, so we're very excited. We have an incredible group of honorees, people that have served the community during the pandemic, that we'll be recognizing and giving awards to. And I'm sorry, I should have mentioned them even earlier, but they really have done extraordinary things for the greater New Haven area, and we're very proud to be honoring them. They're all listed on our website. We'll be at Canal Dock starting in mid-May, and we're looking for other options if people are aware of music series that they think would be interested in presenting chamber music. It's got to be small ensembles for right now. We're working on that for this spring and going into the summer. And then our hope is to go back to our full classics and pops programming in October of 21.
Well, Elaine, we are running out of time, so I want to thank you very much for spending time with me and my viewers today.
Oh, it flew by, Deborah. This has been a real treat.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, everyone, for spending time with us. I'm Deborah Gilbert, your host. You've been tuned into Arts and Entertainment. I look forward to having you next time for another terrific show. Have a great day.